Have you ever felt so disoriented, so lost, that you wondered if you would ever find your way back? Maybe it happened after something fell apart in your life. A relationship, a belief, a sense of certainty you once carried. At first, it feels like the ground is disappearing beneath your feet. But what if that very sense of losing ground is not a failure, not a mistake, but the first trembling sign that you're actually beginning to awaken? It might sound strange, but the doorway into awakening often looks like collapse. We imagine that waking up spiritually means endless calm, peace, and light. But if you're truly honest about your journey, you know that the path begins in chaos. The storm comes before the stillness. I can tell you this because I lived it. For a long time, I clung to religion the way a child clings to a parent's hand in the dark. It gave me comfort, yes, and a sense of belonging. But deep down, I felt something was missing, an emptiness that rituals, words, and doctrines couldn't quite fill. I kept trying to silence that feeling with prayer, with discipline, with repetition. But the silence never truly came. And eventually, I realized perhaps what I needed wasn't more answers, but the courage to step into the unknown. The question I want to invite you to sit with today is this. What if your confusion is not a problem, but an invitation? What if the cracks you feel inside are not signs of weakness, but signs that the old shell is breaking, so that something truer, something freer, can emerge? You see, the deepest awakening doesn't come when everything is in order. It comes when life strips away what you thought was certain, leaving you face to face with yourself. And though it may feel frightening, that moment is sacred. So if you're here, listening, wondering why your world feels like it's unraveling, let me whisper this to you as a friend. You are not lost. You are being found. What is breaking apart is not your soul, but the illusions that kept it asleep. And in that breaking, a new light is beginning to rise. You know, there's something profoundly human about reaching that point where everything you thought you knew begins to feel uncertain. Maybe you've been there too. You start noticing that the old ways of living don't fit anymore. The conversations you used to enjoy, the habits that once comforted you, even the people who felt like your home, they start to feel distant, like clothes that no longer fit the person you're becoming. And in those moments, you might whisper to yourself, am I losing my mind? Why do I feel so out of place? I want to tell you right now, you're not crazy. You're not broken. What you are experiencing is the very first stage of awakening. It is uncomfortable, yes, but it is sacred. When I began questioning my own religiosity, it was terrifying. For years, religion gave me certainty, a framework, and even an identity. It told me who I was, what I should believe, how I should live. But over time, I began to notice something. Instead of feeling closer to the divine, I felt trapped by concepts. My prayers became words repeated out of fear rather than love. My faith became a performance, not an authentic connection. One day, I realized that I wasn't doubting God. I was doubting the structures I had built around God. That realization shook me to my core. Because if the ground I had been standing on wasn't as solid as I believed, what could I possibly trust? Maybe you feel that too. Maybe you've been looking around at your life and sensing a quiet disconnect. The routines that used to give you comfort no longer reach your heart. The answers you were given as a child no longer satisfy the questions that now burn within you. That's not failure. That's growth. So here's what I want to share with you. This discomfort you feel is not a curse, but a sign. It's the first whisper of a deeper truth trying to reach you. It's life itself, inviting you into a new level of awareness. And in this video, I want to walk with you through what I've discovered. The 3 silent stages of awakening that no one tells you about. Stages that transform your anxiety into trust, your confusion into clarity, and your fear into freedom. Because you don't have to walk through this storm alone. And together, we can begin to see that this unraveling is not the end. It's the beginning of something infinitely greater. Stage 1 begins with something many of us try to avoid. Questions. Not the small, everyday questions like, what will I eat today? Or what's next on my to-do list? But the kind of questions that shake the foundation of your being. For me, it started slowly, almost like a whisper I couldn't ignore. I would sit in silence after a prayer and feel a hollowness, as if the words I repeated no longer carried life. I began to ask myself, do I believe this because I have experienced it, or because I was told to? That single question opened a door I could not close. Questioning is uncomfortable because it unravels certainty. Most of us are taught that to question our faith, our beliefs, or our traditions is dangerous. It feels like betrayal. And yet, questioning is not betrayal. It is the beginning of honesty with yourself. It's the seed of awakening. Imagine you're standing in a room with closed curtains. You've been told your whole life that the light outside is too harsh, too dangerous, that it's better to stay inside. But one day, curiosity stirs in you. You pull back a corner of the curtain, and suddenly, light floods in. At first, it blinds you. It's too much. But eventually, you realize the light was always there. You were simply taught not to look. That's what questioning feels like. It disorients you. It shakes you. But it is also the very thing that begins to set you free. When Eckhart Tolle speaks about awakening, he reminds us that the most important thing in life is not what we achieve, or even what we believe, but whether we awaken to the deeper dimension of consciousness within us. And questioning is the first crack in the wall of unconsciousness. It's the moment life whispers, "Wake up." If you're in this stage right now, I want you to know this. You are not alone. You don't need to rush for answers. The questions themselves are holy. Sit with them. Breathe with them. Let them open you. Because every spiritual awakening begins not with certainty, but with the courage to ask, what if there is more? After the questioning comes something even more challenging, the letting go. This stage feels like standing at the edge of a cliff. Behind you is everything familiar. The beliefs, the structures, the identity you've carried for years. Ahead of you is only space, mystery, the unknown. And life gently whispers, "Jump." When I began letting go of my religiosity, it wasn't neat or graceful. It was messy, confusing, and sometimes heartbreaking. I felt like I was betraying not just my tradition, but also my family, my community, even the person I thought I was. The rituals that once gave me comfort now felt like chains. The certainty I once clung to became a prison. And slowly, painfully, I realized if I wanted to truly awaken, I had to release what no longer resonated with the truth inside me. Letting go is not about rejecting your past with anger. It's not about tearing everything down and walking away with bitterness. True letting go is gentler than that. It's like a snake shedding its old skin. Not because the skin was bad, but because it no longer fits. You may feel fear here. That's natural. The ego craves safety, and safety often hides in the familiar. Even when the familiar is suffocating, it feels easier than stepping into the unknown. But awakening requires courage. The courage to release what no longer serves your growth. I found that letting go was not a single moment, but a process. Some days I felt light, liberated, as if I had broken free from invisible chains. Other days, I felt pulled back by guilt, shame, and the voices that told me I was making a mistake. But each time I chose to trust the quiet presence within me rather than the fear outside me, I grew stronger. Eckhart Tolle teaches that the most important thing is not the situation itself, but the state of consciousness with which you face it. And that is the essence of letting go. It's not about changing everything in your life overnight, but about shifting the place you live from, no longer rooted in fear, but in presence. If you're in this stage, be patient with yourself. It takes time. It takes compassion. Remember, you are not losing yourself. You're simply releasing the false layers, so your true self can finally breathe. After the storm of questioning and the shedding that comes with letting go, there arrives a quieter, deeper stage, integration. Integration is not as dramatic as the other stages. It doesn't always look like lightning striking or mountains moving. Instead, it feels more like the gentle settling of dust after a storm. You begin to realize that awakening is not about escaping your humanity, but about embodying presence within it. For me, this stage came slowly. After releasing so many old beliefs and patterns, I asked myself, what now? How do I live in this new space? At first, I thought integration meant finding new doctrines or philosophies to replace the old ones. But the deeper truth revealed itself. Integration is not about replacing beliefs. It's about living without being trapped by them. It's about walking through life awake. Think of it like this. Religion may have been the finger pointing to the moon. For years, I stared at the finger, mistaking it for the truth. But once I dared to look beyond, I saw the moon itself, vast, luminous, undeniable. Integration is when you no longer cling to the finger, yet you don't despise it either. You see it for what it was, a guide that helped you begin the journey. In integration, you bring awakening into the ordinary moments of life. Washing dishes, listening to a friend, watching the sky turn from day to night. Each moment becomes alive because you're no longer lost in thought or waiting for life to begin somewhere else. As Eckhart Tolle often reminds us, the essence of awakening is presence. And presence is available only here, only now. Of course, this doesn't mean life becomes perfect. Challenges still arise, emotions still surface, relationships still test you. But the difference is this: you're no longer defined by them. You meet each situation not from fear or habit, but from awareness. And in that awareness, even the most ordinary day carries a quiet sense of sacredness. If you find yourself entering this stage, remember that integration is ongoing. It is not a destination, but a way of being. Some days you may feel deeply awake. Other days you may slip back into old patterns. That's okay. Each return to presence strengthens you. Each moment of awareness is a victory. Integration is realizing that awakening is not about leaving life behind. It is about finally living it fully, consciously here and now. So let's take a breath together and gather everything we've explored so far. This journey of awakening unfolds in 3 silent but powerful stages. First comes the questioning, that unsettling moment when certainty begins to crumble and life invites you to step beyond the comfort of old answers. Then comes the letting go, the courageous release of what no longer serves your soul, even when fear and guilt try to pull you back. And finally, there's the integration, the quiet realization that awakening is not about leaving life, but about embodying presence in each moment of it. Now, here's something important to remember. This path is not linear. It's not a straight staircase where you climb neatly from one stage to the next. Awakening is more like a spiral. You may find yourself questioning again after you've let go, or shedding new layers long after you thought you were integrated. And that's not failure. That is the natural rhythm of growth. Every time the spiral returns, you come back with more depth, more clarity, more awareness. I want to pause here and speak directly to you. Wherever you are right now, whether in the confusion of questioning, the vulnerability of letting go, or the calm of integration, you are exactly where you need to be. There's no rush. Awakening is not a race, it's a remembering. And life itself is guiding you step by step. But awakening, though deeply personal, does not have to be lonely. That's why I invite you to share your experience in the comments below. Tell me, in which stage do you find yourself today? Are you standing in the storm of questions? Are you bravely releasing old skins? Or are you learning to walk in presence? By sharing, you not only give voice to your own journey, but you also remind someone else out there that they are not alone. And if this conversation resonates with you, I encourage you to subscribe and ring the notification bell. Because in our next video, we're going to explore one of the most delicate aspects of awakening: how to face the deep sense of loneliness that often arises on this path, and how that loneliness can actually become a gateway to deeper connection with life itself. Remember, this is not just content. This is a community of souls waking up together. and your presence here matters. As we come to the end of this conversation, I want to leave you with something simple, a reminder, a whisper, a seed to carry with you. Take a slow breath with me. Inhale gently and exhale. Feel the weight in your shoulders soften, even if just a little. Right now, in this very moment, there is nothing you need to prove, nothing you need to achieve, nothing you need to fix. You're allowed to simply be. Awakening is not about becoming perfect. It's not about reaching some higher status where nothing ever hurts and everything makes sense. Awakening is about being here, fully, tenderly, consciously. It's about allowing yourself to meet this moment as it is, without running away, without waiting for a better time. When I look back on my own path, I see that the hardest times, the questioning, the letting go, the loneliness were not mistakes. They were initiations. They were doorways. And maybe that's true for you too. The parts of your life that feel like endings may, in fact, be beginnings in disguise. So let me tell you this as a friend. Be gentle with yourself. You're not behind. You're not failing. You are unfolding. Even when it feels messy, even when you don't know the way, life is guiding you. Every breath you take, every challenge you face, is part of this sacred process of remembering who you truly are. And who are you? You are not just a person with problems, with a past, with roles to play. You are consciousness itself, the vast, silent awareness behind all experiences. You are the universe, awakening through the form of a human life. You may look like a single individual on this planet, but in truth, you are inseparable from the greater whole. So as you move forward from this moment, carry this truth with you. You don't have to force awakening. You only have to allow it. Presence is always here, waiting for you to notice. Stay awake, stay tender, and trust that you are exactly where you need to be. Thank you for sharing this time with me. May peace, clarity, and presence walk with you in every step ahead.